Okay, have you ever wanted a battler that you get to just explode things and shoot tiles into the air? Well, this is it. This is Hold Your Ground. Hold Your Ground is a battle royale style game that honestly grabbed us in because of the gimmick of that little explosion button that you push. The tile shoots up and shoots all the figures up in the air. Looked really fun. Who doesn't like that? But I know it's an area control style game. We thought, you know what, this might be a good family game, or might be something more. I'm going to go ahead and see what we thought about it. But first, let's see how it's played. Okay, we are set up for a game of Hold Your Ground Battle Royale right now. Now, we have 2 players set up here. This plays up to 4, but I'm going to show you quickly how to play this game. Pretty much the goal of the game is to be the last player to have any of their battlers, which are these little guys, left on the board. And it happens over 2 phases. Every turn has 2 phases. One is the moving phase and then the doom phase. Let's first call, everybody's going to get a deck of cards like this. And you're going to get 4 cards in your hand. So, say this is the green person here. You're going to play these cards either way, up or down. So if I play these 2 right here, take a look. That means 2 people get to move 2 spaces, 2 of my battlers. So I take a look, and a space is orthogonal. It's not diagonal. So I would go step 1, 2, just like that. And say I would take this guy over here, 1, 2. Just like that. All right, so I have achieved that. And then I go into the doom phase. I'll get to that in a moment. But before I get to that, let me show you some of these other cards here. Other ones, like say if I would have played this right here, I'd move 1 person 2 spaces. But then notice down here, there's a then. This I'm going to cover in the doom phase. What happens in the doom phase can also happen in the move phase if you play one of these cards. Or everyone's got those. One of these right here. Or one of these. That looks like a fun one, right? So the biggest thing is you'll probably have noticed this, which is kind of the fun little gimmick of the game. So move phase, you're moving everybody around. Pretty much this is area control. Later in the doom phase here, battles are going to happen. It's going to include this die right here. You're going to roll this. Whatever happens, that's what happens in the doom phase. First off, let's go to battling. Battling as a battle royale happens everywhere. So anything that is tied, no one wins. So here, notice they're all tied. All right. Then later, this is 3 to 1. So the loser is going to lose 1 person. Now, of course, this gets more and more exciting as there are more and more players on the board and everyone's moved around, and 4 players gets very chaotic. So that's just you look around, and majority loser is going to lose the person. One thing about battling that's different a little bit too is if, say, purple was here. Say if purple was over here and they had 3 and then green had 2 and 1, well, the purple gets to eliminate 1 of either loser they want to and take them off the board. Okay, so next is the move phase. Moving is going to be, you're going to move this eliminator right here. Now you have to move it underneath a tile that's adjacent to its current position. Now this one can move orthogonally or diagonally. So you can't move here because as you start, you're here under the center position. I can't move here because it's been removed. But I could say ahead and move it right down here. All right, so now I know it is going to be under this guy right here. All right, so finally, during the doom phase, if this shows up, that's the moment you get to go ahead and explode it. So I would push this down just like this. There we go. And you lose all of those battlers that have fallen off the board. Okay, so you're removing the exploded tile right here. This guy would have fallen down there. He's removed as well. But any other battlers that have fallen over that are still up there are going to be moved their nearest tile and stood up because they have survived that. Just like that. Now, if you ever get the doom like somewhere like this, and if there's nowhere to actually shoot up, then you have to use the move action instead and move it underneath another board. One other thing I will mention here about moving too, let's go back to moving and all these tiles. Moving, there's a finite number of battlers that can be in each position. And it's different depending on the player count, but like 2 people, it's going to be 5 battlers. So if there were ever 5 people on this, just like this, say this guy wants to get move 1, move in here. He then gets to move one of these battlers into the direction he was going. So here we go, and he'd fall off into there. All right, so you get to then go ahead and move somebody off. One other thing is there is a collapsing mechanic here. Every single piece needs to be attached to the center piece. So if ever these are cut off, let's say all these three are removed here, these two are then removed as well because they're too far out and they're no longer attached to the center, so they kind of fall off. It's how gravity works. And then finally on the die right here, you're going to have one symbol, which is the question mark, and that is you get to go ahead and do any of these for your Doom phase that you want to battle, move, or explode. And that's it. You keep going until only one team is left, or if the center tile is the only tile left, then you're going to count up and see who wins there. And that is how you play Hold Your Ground. Let's send it back and see what we thought about it. Okay, so that's pretty much quickly how to play Hold Your Ground. Again, that's not all the rules, but that's most of the rules there. So pretty much, first off, at first glance, this feels like a Risk-style game that happens faster. It's very simple with the movement, area control. You're moving around, and you're going to try to get a majority in the area. If you don't have the majority, you're going to try to move your people out, and you're playing those cards dual use, which I always like that. I like when you have just a finite number of cards in your hand, and you can play them up one way or the other, and it gives kind of fun decisions to move around. And then also, as more and more of these tiles get eliminated, it's harder and harder to get in certain places. Now, there's a couple of strategies in this I like. Number one, the fun part is, of course, the explosion action, just shooting that tile up. That's really good. It's really enjoyable. And of course, when you play with kids, that's the one thing they want to do. And because of that Doom phase, there's a chance that can happen a lot, because you're going to do the move phase and the Doom phase. It's pretty simple. It's very simple to teach, very simple to learn. Move and then do. And you're going to be shooting that up back and forth. Now later, the more you play this, it kind of reaches more into that area control, because the battle royale is going to happen great, because if you have everyone positioned, you can really eliminate a lot of characters as you go through a lot of the minis if you position everyone accordingly. So that's really fun. I think it's almost like a battle of two games. And then on top of that, you've got the strategy on eliminating tiles, not only if the people are on there or the battlers are on there, but if it's connecting some tiles on the outside and you want to trap and eliminate those people. So a lot of that gives this a really fun feel. And honestly, for us, our 8-year-old daughter, it's one of those we can finally explain area control. Because as I was teaching her, we do the battle, and then I'm like, okay, let's count. She goes, no, I'll do it. And then she goes, and you see her just remove, nope, you win that one, win that one, and that one, and all that. And I found later she was getting the strategy of not worrying about the eliminator as much, but moving people in and trying to get that majority going forward. Okay, so overall, I think this game is a blast. The whole thing plays on the box, and you get to have that action of shooting up and the area control. I'm coming in at a 7 for this, because this was more than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was just a gimmick, just that little eliminator, but honestly, it gives that, kind of for me, that old Risk feel of moving these little minis across the board. But in this day and age, I could never get my daughter to play Risk. So this right here gives her that kind of same feel as you get to move around. Hopefully gets her excited about that. So I'm coming in at a 7 for this. I think it's a really fun family game. And honestly, I have played this with a couple of adults, and we have had a blast because, let's be honest, shooting tiles into the air with little figures on it is fun. It's always going to be fun. And I'm not going to apologize about that. So that is Hold Your Ground, Battle Royale. I'm Joey Evans, and I'm going to hit this button again. Shoot, it wasn't under a tile.
Hey folks, thanks for joining us for that video. If you haven't yet, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hey, make sure you check out what's happening, where I'll cover an app on an iOS or a Switch device, and you can check it out along with me. Thanks very much. You've been watching The Dice Tower.